Good Friday morning, everybody. It's Sarah in her kitchen. Today I'm going to make something that I have never made before, but I'm confident that I'll be able to do it. Fingers crossed. But before I get into it, I want to give you a few tips. I am going to be making those soft pretzels that you typically buy at the mall and some beer battered cheese. So bear with me on that. But before I get started, I wanted to go over a few little tips for you, okay? When you're going to cook or bake or whatever you're making, always get your ingredients all out first. That's number one. Second thing is when you're dealing with bread, be it your sourdough bread, your sandwich bread, or pretzels. This is a tip I've learned when I started dealing with bread and dough. Never put any of your dough down in your drain. That means flour that's mixed with water, nothing like that. It's cheaper to replace paper towels than it is to call out a plumber, unless you're married to one or you're one yourself. Otherwise, I'll just keep using my paper towels. So I always rinse out my bowls with minimal amount of water. I have my big tall garbage can right here at my side, ready to throw any liquid in there too, okay? All the liquid water, it never goes down the drain, okay? So you do what you want to do, but just a word of caution. So, and I always like to have a wet towel with me so I can just quickly wipe off my hands, because typically I would use my dish towel, but again, you don't want to get any of that dough mixed in because it'll ruin them, and then you just have to throw them away. So keep a wet towel handy. And the other thing, then I pull out a bunch of these, maybe depending on what I'm making. I've got a stack over there of about 8 to 10 of these, so that whenever I need them, I can get to them easily and I don't have to touch my paper towel roller and pull them off with messy fingers. So I can just use these. So that's another tip for you. The recipe is going to call for sugar. And I looked it up to see if I could replace honey. You can, but if you do, you have to also change the amount of liquid that you use. So in lieu of messing up my dough, I'm going to stick with the sugar. Some recipes call for white, some recipes call for brown. And the recipe I'm using is 2 tablespoons of sugar. So, me being me, I did 1 teaspoon of white and 1 teaspoon of brown sugar. And the only difference between brown sugar and white sugar is brown sugar has had molasses added to it. That's how they make brown sugar. Another tip, go on Amazon and you'll find these little tiny clay bears. They're so cute. They're only about that big. I should have pulled it out of my container to show you. But you get that and you wet that and you soak it in water for 20 minutes. Pat it dry and put it in with your brown sugar, and your brown sugar will not harden up anymore. I can't tell you how many times until I learned a few tricks on how to soften it. Another way is, if you don't want to buy that, you always have sliced bread. You can take a slice of bread and put it into that container, that airtight container that your brown sugar is in, and that too will soften it up. But the bread's not going to last in there, where that little cute little bear, he's going to stay in there and it'll keep that brown sugar nice and soft for you. So that's another tip for you. I'm going to use an egg wash at the end of mine. I always like to use an egg wash on my sandwich bread, and I only use the yolk. I keep the whites and I add it to my egg for breakfast the next morning, but I only use the yolk and 1 tablespoon of milk. Mix that up and that'll be my egg wash, so you know that. I'm using Diamond kosher salt in the recipe, but at the end, when my pretzels are all baked, then I'm going to use this. I bought this off of Amazon too. This is actual sea salt pretzel salt. So if you're going to make pretzels, you got to do it right, okay? So that is that. The other thing is, this is kind of cool. This is a, see that? It'll tell you how hot or what the temperature is of anything you want. The only thing is, it does take a while to reach that temperature. Like your water, you want your water to be at least 110 degrees. So, so this is a nice gadget to have. And otherwise, I use my one that I have over on my refrigerator that's got the long cord that's got where you can stick it in the oven, which that one's much faster because it'll give you a read boom like that. So either way, it's nice to have one of those to know that you're up to 110 for the water. Okay, so I will get started and I'll be right back.